This meeting is being recorded.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Edna White, your host for Keeping It Real on Purpose. This is the place where you speak to real people with real stories, with real life, all on purpose. And today we have a special guest, none other than Dr. Heather Browne. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And because my audience knows I always mess up people's names. So I'm trying my very best. It's my new journey now, is to pronounce everyone's name correctly.
Well,
So welcome to our show.
You're fortunate that my married name is Browne because my maiden name was Mackerline, and that's pretty hard for anyone to pronounce.
Oh. Oh, I just missed that one. I love it.
You did.
Well, I have my audience knows I have dyslexia, and sometimes I'll see the words and I'll know what they are, and it just comes out differently. And I do a good job, but I'm making my mission to do it the correct way because I know how important people's names are to them. But thank you so much, Dr. Heather, for being here today. How do you show up in the world?
How do I show up? I show up with joy. I show up with hope. I show up with love. And I show up with a desire to adventure and to learn.
Oh, I like that. I love adventure and to learn. Are you pretty scared when you do something adventurous, like outside of your normal adventures?
I would say exhilarated.
I like it. New word.
Yeah, because I always look at the aspect of challenging myself. I mean, there may be moments. I remember the first time I skydove, there was that little part of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to jump out of a plane. But I was also really excited to do it. So I go more. So if you look at fear and you look at anticipation, they're very close, but they feel
they are
different.
very close. Yeah.
But they feel really different. So I go to the side of anticipation, excitement, exhilarating, because those are all empowering, and fear is a regressive feeling. And in life, I just try as much as possible to allow myself to hold on to my power and to utilize it for my good and for others' good.
Like that. I like the explanation about fear. It's more pulling you this way than it's pulling you out, so I like that. Yeah, I like that. So tell us your story.
Well, in a nutshell, I was raised by a mom who was a paranoid schizophrenic, and she killed herself when I was 16. But when you're living with someone who is indeed crazy, you can see different aspects of life and reality than people who are not. And so a lot of it was hard. A lot of it was really, truthfully, magical. She was magical when she was crazy at times, and then other times it was hell. But I learned that no one really lives the same life that anybody else lives. No one can really understand anybody else completely. And having that awareness, what I realized is I need to stop trying to help people understand me, and I need to also try to connect. And where we line up, we line up. Where we don't,
That's a great revelation. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's such a great revelation.
Well, and what I say to clients all the time is connection first and then conversation. Because if you connect, then whatever needs to come through, you'll figure it out. If you try to
come through right away,
together through communication, like we're a mess. We're a mess.
Yeah. We are. Do you ever get I know I'm always on social media, so I try to answer, people come in and they DM me, and I'm always getting people asking for something but don't know me. So I find myself saying, we haven't built a relationship. I know nothing about you. You could be asking me to do something that was totally illegal. Just because you're on a platform doesn't mean you're legal, And it's so important to build relationships. It takes a while for certain types, but it's so important to build relationships. Can you talk about, the communication around building that relationship?
Sure. We all want to feel that we're important.
Right.
We all want to feel that we're special. We
Mhm.
all want to feel that we have an impact on some way. And we all want to feel we're somewhat unique. And
Right.
so when you don't give yourself the time to try to really get to know the other person, by
Mhm.
the nature of that, you're going to be making assumptions. And in my head, what you're saying is your path, your life, your focus is more important than me.
Uh-huh.
Neither of us is more important, but I am
That's right.
much more likely to want to engage with someone who also has an interest in me. What happens to me a lot is I have a
Mhm.
lot of people reaching out and wanting me to hire them. And so the
Mhm.
message that I get is, what would you say if I could make you $10,000 in 3 months? And then they say, well, what would you say if I could get you a client that's paying you $4,000 a month? And
Yeah, they said that to me too.
when I say you
Dr.
don't,
Heather, they say that too.
I said, you don't really know what I do. I said, my focus
Right.
isn't let me make a ton of money off a person. My
Yeah.
focus is let me help those who want to walk with me to help them. And am I going to be paid? Yeah, and I'm going to be paid well. But I'm
Yeah.
not choosing a client by a number. And so it's
Right.
always interesting. And they'll come back and say, well, what do you do? And I'm thinking, why would you want to work with me if you don't know what I do? So I find that
Exactly.
people don't take the time to know enough of
No.
what it is that you have to offer. Or
Right.
could I really help you? Maybe I
Mm.
can't. Maybe
Right.
you come on my podcast and we sit down and you haven't asked me any questions and you say, so I want to talk to you about aeronautical science. And I'm going to be like, I love travel. I love
Yeah.
travel. When- So there's a place of you like, do I have the juice that you need? And do you
Yeah.
have
Do I have the
the
juice?
juice for
Right.
me? Yeah.
Yeah, I might have orange juice, but you're looking for apple juice. So I might be the wrong type of juice. I got
Exactly.
juice.
And that's okay because we all like different types of juice and other people like that different juice.
Yeah. Right.
You want to make certain that the people that you're spending time with, the people you're investing with, that you
Right.
really are the best one for them,
Right.
and that it's received well or that it
Mhm.
benefits you
Right.
as well. Because there are
Right.
places where you can say, I mean, it would be like if your dentist, if you had a friend who was a dentist and saying, this would be real quick for you. Like my filling just came out. Could you just fill it for me? And they're
Yeah.
gonna feel respected. There's a place of respecting who
Right.
people
Oh,
are.
that's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's really good. I want to say to you that that right there is it's on the hearts and minds of plenty of my clients and plenty of my podcast listeners about what you just said. I got a call today from one of my clients, and like not a tizzy, but she said to me, "What do you think about this?" And I'm meeting with this big to do person in this big industry, and she canceled twice 15 minutes before we're supposed to meet. So each time
Oh,
I have to push my meeting back and push my meeting back. Then now she's on her way and it pushing me close to my other client. So I already canceled two other appointments. What do I do? And I said to her, and maybe you can add to this. I said, well, the question is, why would you what made you allow her to do that? That would be my question, because she could do whatever she wants. But
that's
what made you think it's okay for for you to allow her to do it? She goes, oh,
well, and what she's saying is the woman's value is higher than hers and her other
yeah,
client.
yeah,
And sometimes it's a big honcho. You want to work with
yeah,
them, but there's
yeah,
something not right if the big honcho has to keep pushing their times back.
right. And that's what I said. I said I would think, okay. if someone that busy, because I don't use the word busy. I think I used the word busy last time in 2003.
Oh,
When I found
wow.
myself, when I found myself at my office, somebody called me and said, I'm so busy. And at the time I was teaching myself how to stay in the moment, right? And so I'm like writing something, then I move the paper over, and then I do something and move the paper over, and then I go, I'm not completing anything. Then I bring it back, and I suddenly caught myself. I was like, I'm not doing nothing but pushing the papers around because I'm not having enough focus to
Mm.
complete one project at a time. So I never say I'm busy. I never, and people say to me all the time, I'm so busy. I wish I had 24 more, maybe three hours, more hours in a day. I was like, then what would you do with them? The same thing you're doing now with the 24 you have. So, right?
Yeah.
Right, Evan?
That's great. Well, and you're choosing what you're doing. So why not,
Yeah.
instead of saying I'm busy, why not just say, oh, I'm doing so much. It's really exciting. Or my life is
Yeah.
full and
Yeah.
thrilling
Yeah.
right now. Oh,
Yeah.
so many opportunities are on my plate. It's so
Yeah. I started saying I'm productive, and that
oh, I
put me in a
love
frame of mind.
that.
Whatever, if I say I'm going to do 5 things, a task, and I only get to do 3, I was productive because all 3 were complete. Whether I was busy, I would be doing pieces of all of that, and nothing would be complete. So I use productive as ever since 2003.
That is
When I
brilliant, though, because you're absolutely right. Busy just means I'm doing a lot. Productive means I'm successful. Oh, I'm going to steal
Yeah.
that from you.
You can
That is
steal it. You can steal it.
wonderful.
You can steal it.
I got from that's your I got your juice.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We're having such a great conversation, ladies and gentlemen in the audience. I know that I'm loving Dr. Heather already. She'll be back, audience. She'll be back. That's the type of juice we like. So I know that Dr. Heather specializes in couples communication. We want to talk about that. So let's talk about that, Dr. Heather.
You got it. What would you like to?
Start wherever you want to.
Well, I'm going to go off of what we said earlier because it'll tie in. When you
Okay.
view your relationships and when you
Yeah.
choose to view conversations
Right.
where the relationship is more important than the topic,
Ooh.
when connection is more important than the conversation,
Yeah.
then you stay in a place of respect, you can stay in a place of honoring, and you can stay in a place of love and support.
Okay.
And so to me, if you want to have really good conversations, which we all do, there's a couple of really important, pinnacle points, which is know what it is that you're talking about and why you're talking
Right.
about it.
Right.
You want to know what you're desiring your outcome to be. Very important. You want to know if what you're talking about is conjecture or if it's the truth, as far as
Right.
you know, because that changes the conversation and the way you present it.
Yeah.
I always tell people, make certain that if you're going to have this conversation, that it's going to bless the relationship or
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, it's probably just a complaint. It's probably just a negative, construct. It's not going to do any good. Then I always say, make certain you're ready to hear their response or opinion completely,
Yeah.
or don't step in, because then it's a lecture or it's a
Right.
judgment. And then
Right.
check with them and see when it's the best time.
Okay.
One of the places where we really blow it in relationships is I have a thought, I have something I'm trying to figure out, and I just barge in on you and we got to figure this out. I hate that you do blah, 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 blah. And we don't
Right.
recognize that we've been thinking about it and processing it for a while. Our
Right.
partner might have no idea. So we kind of slam them with the topic. They're left with egg on their face thinking, I didn't know we were going to talk about this. So you want to make certain that the person is accessible and available. If you say, let me know when you're free, then they come to you and say, this is a great time for me. Now
Right.
it's an invitation for the conversation.
Mm.
And it's going to go a whole lot better. We don't do that. We just shove our way in whenever we want to say something and start complaining or whatever. And it's not received well.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
received well. And then another really huge piece is to realize when you get a pushback, when you get a negativity, when you get resistance, when you get anything that doesn't feel good energetically,
Right.
if you let yourself react to it, you're dropping down to that other person's emotional state. You already don't like it because it doesn't feel good coming at you. So it's
Right.
important to realize, okay, something's not going here. You're not quite happy with who I am or what I'm saying or what have you.
Right. Right.
You'd like this to be different. And so you're in this uncomfortable negative place. If you can realize they're wanting it different versus they're fighting you.
Yeah.
If you like
Right.
shove, the reason for the resistance is truly because what you're talking about or you are really important. We obliterate it and we think, because you're mad at me, I'm not important. No, because you're mad, I am important.
Right.
But we're having a hard time here. Then below the anger, you'll be able to see that it all comes down to fear and love. You've either hurt me or I'm fearful. And so how do we cultivate more connection there? How do we cultivate more safety there? So you have a conversation.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So that we all we weren't taught how to communicate effectively.
Isn't it silly? Like we're taught
It's
so
the
much
silliest
stuff in
thing
life,
ever.
not taught communication.
Yeah, we know how to use in school. We know how to use a needle and thread, but we don't know how to talk to one another.
Well, and we know how to use our mouth. We know how to use our mouth really well, but we don't use our mouth wisely.
Right. So most of the times we're always listening to answer to respond. And we're not really listening. We're looking for that, I guess, that space to kind of like just go in, how do we change that around? If we don't have somebody like you, how do we change it around about ourselves?
Well, it's a great awareness to even ask that question. So like my hat is off to you for that. It's a discipline.
Okay.
And it's also an awareness.
Okay.
If you're speaking to me and you're telling me something that's important to you, and I decide that I'm going to start to figure out what I'm going to say in rebuttal or in response, I'm really not giving you my full attention or the full experience that I can.
Yeah.
If I'm not wanting you to do the same thing with me, then I really need to be offering more of you. And also what happens is, so let's say I listen to 8 words out of the 15 words that you say.
Gotcha.
Now I start to think of, okay, this is how I'm going to respond. I have now decided where our conversation's going to go.
Right. Right.
And maybe those next 10 words coming out of your mouth would have possibly taken it somewhere else.
Yeah.
So if you don't wait for someone to complete their thought, you don't know what it is that they're expressing or where it is they want you to respond. So it truly is a place of respect for the person that you're with and yourself. How many times have you jumped in on somebody and they said, no, that wasn't what I was saying. Listen to me. No, I'm not talking about that. And you pull back and let them, which is such a silly thing because they had the floor to begin with. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. But it shows I wasn't caring enough about what it was you were trying to express. And I
think I had most of the time, that was with my children. Like I would be very attentive at work because that meant I was missing something, I had to get direction or whatever. And, to kind of stay out of harm's way. But I think with my children, because the old adage was in my subconscious when I was raising my children. Children should be seen and not heard. And the other one was obey your elders, honor your elders. And really having a conversation is really not, is giving them honor. It's even giving yourself honor, like you said, and them honor. So I had to get out of, I had to really try hard because I had to reprogram a lot of thoughts in there, and I had to really give in to okay, I gotta literally take my tongue and put it between my teeth and sit there and listen. It was really it was totally conscious and totally strategic, to listen.
My son was an instigator. I love him. Amazing, powerful guy. But he was a big time instigator, and he would say something in my office. He would call out from her bedroom, "Don't bite, don't bite." I sit with him like this.
My mother used to do that. She said she used to do that with me too. It's like she'd cover her mouth, because I would be laughing. She'd be laughing at me.
He would tease me. He's like, "Oh, so you're covering your mouth now?" I'd be like, and I would wait till he was done, just patiently listen to his whole story, and then I'd say, before I responded with anything, I'd just say, "Is there anything that you would like to take back from what you said, my son?" He'd be like, yeah. And he started holding all this stuff back. And eventually stopped having that conversation because he realized him going off in ways that was, just poking at me. It wasn't going to get my vote. And it was really good knowledge to have that you don't have to bite. You don't have to bite, even though it's out there and it's easy and you want to. You don't have to. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that part of, communication. That's really great education for my audience. And I appreciate that. So what's going on in your near future and on the horizon?
Well, it is a very productive and exciting. So I do workshops on Zoom.
Okay.
I do them the second Thursday of every month, and it's open to anybody who wants to join on different topics. Obviously, I'm seeing clients with coaching and psychotherapy. I'm in the final editing stages of my book, which is on conscious communication for couples. And I'm about 3/4 through a book on anxiety. And so both of those will be coming out either the end of this year or the beginning of 24. And so and I'm auditioning for TEDx's at the same time too. So there's a lot of things ahead, which is just really exciting. And it's fun for me.
Yeah.
I'm 59, my kids are grown, I'm a widow. So it's fun to use this time of my life just to see how I can reach out and support and care for people beyond what I've done so far with the one-on-one in my office. So super active on TikTok and doing lots of things on social media. So it's just really fun and really stretching me a lot, which is great.
Yes, good. Well, I'm excited for your new books, and I hope to get a copy of them soon. So you'll be back on the show. We could talk about them again, because I really like how you show up in the world. I really like what you're doing in the world, in your slice of the world, because the world does need your type of juice. So how can our audience find your juice? How can the audience find your juice?
You got it. The easiest place is probably my site. So it's www.drheatherbrowne.com. So Dr. Heather Browne. And on there, you'll see my blog, you'll see my newsletter, which I send out weekly. There's gifts, there's my social media. You'll find pretty much everything you need. My workshops, all of that. But if your audience has questions or you want any little gifts, go to my website. You'll see my freebie when you jump on self-love. And I'm happy questions in any way that I can, if I can
That's
support
beautiful.
somebody in that way.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, audience, you heard where to find her, Dr. Heather Browne with an E, now not with an E.com. And you can go there. There's a freebie. So go get the freebie, ladies and gentlemen. And I have one more question for you, Heather.
Yes.
What is it you can give? What empowering words that you can give to my audience?
Mm. The one that I think to me is the most important for me in life is to remember that capturing your joy is something that's vital and beautiful and something that's up to you to do fully, and living a life where you let yourself stay in a place as often as possible of joy, of awe, of your inner child feeling loved and adored is a really precious place to be.
Nice. Well, we thank you so much. This brings us to the end of our show. We thank you, Dr. Heather Browne, for being here talking about couples communication. We love it, and we thank you. Audience, thank you for being here. You could be anywhere else, but you're here with us today. And if you're looking for me, you know where to find me, EJW Coaching, everywhere on social media. Thank you so much for being here. And this is Edna White and my esteemed guest, Dr. Heather Browne, saying goodbye for now.